Welcome to World Citizen Certificate for Civility for Global Teachers. This is the training notes by video for Supplemental Lesson 1, which is called What is Culture? This lesson is about introducing the concept of culture, and it's intended for a beginner or entry level. And so what happens here as a global teacher is that in addition to teaching the concepts of civility and citizenship, it's going to be critical that we also introduce the concept of culture, because we are all citizens of the world, and as humankind, we're living and learning together in an ever-changing global village and classroom. So by sharing our knowledge and experiences, and by connecting and collaborating, we can build a better, brighter, and more civil world. The world citizen concept provides an opportunity for people all around the globe to expand their worldview, become continuous learners, change perceptions, embrace cultural differences, and learn about how civility, humanity, service, and kindness can ensure that each of us, our families, friends, co-workers, communities, and neighbors around the world can live and learn about each other and about the incredible world around us. So as the world gets smaller due to advances in technology and increased globalization, the distance between people is closer. And as a result, the need to understand how others live and work and the ability to interact with cultures around the world grows greater every day. In addition, as the pace of change increases and resources become scarcer, our ability to maximize our knowledge, to share ideas and solutions, to increase the speed of learning, and to communicate with each other is critical if we want to survive. So as a global teacher, you have to understand that children who are growing up in increasingly diverse communities with increased globalization need to understand as well as value culture. So let me just pop up for you here, and I should have introduced myself. I'm Lou Bayer, co-founder of World Citizen Alliance with Jessie Lynn Brown out of Taiwan. Let me pop up for you the lesson so that you can see here. The World Citizen lesson. So this is about what culture is. Hopefully, if you're taking the Global Teacher Certificate Level 1, you have also already, or you're going to review, because it's mandatory, the World Citizen General or Core course as well. And or, as global teachers, you may have been assigned or registered for the World Citizen Alliance Certificate in Civility for children and youth trainers as well. And there are 5 lessons plus a bonus with that certificate, as well as 5 lessons and a bonus with the World Citizen Core course. And each of the lessons are designed the same way, just like the lesson here that I'm showing you, where we have a statement of rationale, we have a short segment that explains to you what the objectives are. And for this lesson, we want ages 5 to 10 to understand what culture is, to understand why it's important, and to be able to describe their own culture. These lessons are intended for the age 5 to 10 group, but there are some very good sources and resources, some books, some activities that can easily be adapted for older children or even adults, depending on the situation and context. We would always encourage you to read the lessons, considering that they are written from a North American perspective, but with input from our global partners. And we hope that if you come across some content that you think should be advised or adapted, or if you can make a short video clip, update or change one of the activities to suit children in your culture or country better, we would love to have you share that with us so that we can teach other affiliates around the world about different cultures. So in this case, when you're using this culture lesson, we've indicated there's some supplies and things that you need. There is a relay activity here that's quite fun. And what I would say to you is, anytime you can make the activities fun, the children tend to participate more, and the learning tends to stick a little bit longer. Once again, we have to consider what's appropriate for various cultures. We do acknowledge that depending where you live in the world, the way we approach gender or hierarchy or authority might be different. And so please do read every bit of the lesson before you plan to use it in the class. The lessons are designed to be an hour long. However, they could be adapted to 10-minute nugget learning, meaning you could pick out a few terms to know, a concept or an activity, maybe a worksheet, a quiz, or you could use all of the sources and resources and expand the lesson. In addition, you could take the 5 lessons that are provided with this level 1 and create a full day or a boot camp, or offer a couple of half days as a retreat, or what I would call a courtesy camp or civility camp, citizenship camp. You can mix and match these lessons with the lessons from the Children and Youth Level 1 or from World Citizen Core Level 1. And as you continue through the World Citizen program, there are 4 levels in each of 6 streams, and so in the end, you will end up with an enormous amount of lessons that you can use in your own business and in your teaching, and hopefully under the World Citizen umbrella. So we have some notes here, printouts for making passports, some of the activities and games that are included in this lesson. As it was mentioned, please do consider demographic, cultural background, ages, experience, and let's try to build on and leverage those. So under every circumstance, we are always trying to convey equality and equity and civility. That should be embedded in your mindset, and it should at some point come through the lessons naturally. Having said all that, we do recognize that, again, some cultures, some parents, even some children by age 6 or 7 might have a different experience, a different perspective, or even a different belief about some of these ideas. So it's good practice to be able to express to a parent in advance what you intend to teach the children. I think it's good practice at the end of the lesson. If the parents are early to pick the children up, or if you're doing it online, encourage the parents to join in. Always give them an opportunity to see in advance what you're teaching and make sure that they're comfortable with it. In addition, because of the sensitive nature of the content, I think it's okay for these culture lessons to encourage the parents to be present. Oftentimes, teaching social skills, we discourage the parents being present because when we're trying to build confidence and a new skill, sometimes children learn better or interact better. They're initially more comfortable without the pressure of a parent being present. Having said that, some children like the comfort of a parent, just as the same as we might encourage a child to bring along a favorite toy, or we encourage them all of the time to know that there's a telephone handy if they get afraid or want to talk to a parent or aren't comfortable with something, that they could certainly telephone a parent as well. So we want to encourage transparency, but you should know in advance that the civility messaging does reinforce and encourage equality and equity. And a key message in all of our trainings, but particularly relevant for culture training, is that at Civility Experts, and our partner Jessie Lynn Brown in Malaysia endorses and supports this as well. And so it is part of the World Citizen Alliance philosophy, and that is that every person is deserving of respect. Respect is not something you should ever have to earn. Respect is something that each of us are entitled to just because we're human and on the planet. Trust is something different, but in the case of teaching children in particular, we will always teach that children of all ages are equal. Children of any race, color, age, gender are all equal. So once again, if you're not comfortable with that, please contact us or consider talking to us about it. There might be a way that you can deliver pieces of the message without feeling that you're maybe not being true to your own values. And of course, we want you to be true to the values of the children and parents that you're serving. Alright, so the lesson also includes some pre-reading. We do acknowledge that some of these books and resources may not be available in your country. We're not sure if Amazon is accessible as ships everywhere where we have affiliates. However, we would encourage you to seek similar sources and resources. And if you find them in a different language or a different author or a different resource, please share with us what you found. Make a small video of the book and speak about it even in your own language, so that once again we can build knowledge and share those resources and teachings with the world citizen trainers from all over the world. All right, so as we're going through this lesson, once again, they're intended as 1-hour lessons, and so we've written for you a timetable here, the way the lesson would run. You have the option to follow these lessons verbatim, exactly as they're written, or of course, once you've reviewed them, pick and choose pieces that you're interested in, expand them or change them, whatever you're comfortable with. Our hope, however, is that the core messaging remains the same, that we're all on the same page, because as citizens of the world, of course, it's really critical that we all honor humanity, that we all share these values of equality and equity and global citizenship. There's a highlight there for you. We have an activity. It could either be done in class or a takeaway activity, the passport activity. It's coming up here shortly. And we have a show and tell. There is a clip here on YouTube that I encourage you to show the children. And if you're doing an online course, you can still do that. And it gives them an idea of a cultural tradition, something that is of personal nature, part of their life and family story. And we encourage the children to share with the other children that little bit of show and tell culture. There are some terms to know. Once again, it's kind of a common thread through all of the World Citizen lessons. The way we define the terms is very important, and we want to make sure that we're fostering a common language and understanding. Children as early as age 5 don't necessarily need to memorize all of these things, but children by age 7, 8, and up to 10 and beyond are usually asking questions about what does that mean, what does that mean. So it's important to be able to provide the definitions for them. And there is included with the Global Trainer lesson a glossary, I believe at the beginning of Module 1, that you can download, that has all the terms in one place. So in this case, I would consider encouraging the children to wear cultural clothes, to bring some memorabilia or a piece of their heritage with them. Maybe it's a toy or a food or a flag, something that they can relate to, that they understand to be part of their culture. And when you invite children to class or you post a notice about the classroom, the training, you can certainly encourage parents to participate in that as well. So, when we talk about what culture is, I like to start out making it fun, some sort of a game. And so I would consider having a huge map of the world. I have seen at Amazon and other children's resources, you can actually find enormous puzzles of the world with big size pieces, and you can have the children build a puzzle on the floor. And you can show them on a large globe or give them each tiny little globes. You can use atlases, all kinds of things. I like to give them little magnifying glasses and let them look at the various countries. Sometimes we can play a little bit like Where's Waldo? I don't know if everyone's familiar with that, but it's where there is a little character hidden in a picture of all kinds of activities and things going on, and the idea is to find the character hidden in that picture. And so sometimes you can post names of countries or cities or cultural pieces and let the children find them on a map. It could be as simple as find a country that starts and ends with an A, and that could be, that would be find a state, and that would be Alaska, Alaska. All kinds of things like that. Find a country that has water on 3 sides. find 3 islands. There's all kinds of ways you can make it fun and learning. And then explain to them the scope of culture, how the world is such a big place and yet so small in some ways. Anyway, there's lots of ways to present that information. Then we can introduce the idea of customs, and we can show them by way of a passport what citizenship means. That we all, in theory, belong to the country where we were born, but that some people were born somewhere different than they live, that people change countries for a range of reasons, and so on. And explain that all of the countries are part of the world, and so we might be a citizen of Paraguay, or Spain, or China, or United States, or Canada, but all of those citizens are citizens of the world. We want children to be able to see, again, the scope of things, and it's a way of introducing at a very rudimentary level the concept of systems thinking. So when we talk about global warming, it doesn't affect just one person in one city or one country. It impacts the whole world, all the citizens. When we talk about polluting the water, it doesn't affect just one person because we're all connected by the water in the world. It impacts everybody. You can let children talk about some of those things, how we're all connected. What do we share? The sun, the moon, the water. We can talk about different animals and how they might go extinct if we don't take care of them, and how other things we can risk losing. Fresh air, fresh water, our ability to grow green crops, birds, trees, bees, all of those things. So it doesn't have to be a heavy conversation, but I think it's okay. We don't want to scare children, of course, but we're trying to show connections, again, at a very basic level. We want children then to each get a copy of the passport. There is a template included in the lesson with a link so that you can download or print, or you could certainly create a similar thing of your own device. I like to find different colored stickers. Sometimes at the dollar store or the craft store, they actually have stickers that are different flags of different countries, and you can let the children, put the stickers on different pages of the passport. You can make sort of a mini tour and set up little sites around the room. 5 stations, for example. Each station can have maybe some pictures or a piece of customary dress or music or food from different cultures, and let the children move around the stations and put their stamp or sticker on each of those pages in their passport. We're trying to show children as well that it's exciting and interesting and fun. The world is this amazing, brilliant, beautiful place, and there's so much to learn. And it's the differences, it's seeing and experiencing something different that makes travel special, that we can have friends from all over the world as well. We want children to also be proud of who they are and where they're from, so it's important always to include aspects of heritage. Let children highlight where they're from. Maybe let them stamp the passports for other children on their own country of origin, those kind of things. Then, after we have a little break, we want to talk a little bit about habits and customs. We're trying to explain what race means. And race means culture and color, and we can talk about how it is a grouping based on how we look or how we do things. And we want them to know that it's not good to focus on race, but we're going to do a relay race and learn a little about different cultures. It's meant to be kind of fun, but teach the word, but teach the positive. We want them to leave with a good feeling about race. So there is a source in the lesson. There's a link there about how to do this activity. We mark a finish line. The kids are going to try things like, for example, a small bucket of water, and we'll explain to them that in Africa, some children help by carrying water, and they might put the buckets on their head. So we can tell children one at a time, let's honor this African tradition, and they have to, in their relay teams, put a small bucket of water, partly full, we don't want the kids to get soaked, of course, on their heads, and let them use their hands and cheat a little bit. But we want them to go back and forth, and you might play African music while this leg of the relay is on, but we want to see them to see we're going to honor a piece of culture. We want them to understand that not everyone in Africa does this, but in some parts of Africa it might happen, and help them experience what it might like to be that child in Africa carrying the water. There's another one about about you might carry a child on your back, so we can have a piece of cloth and a baby doll, and we can talk about how you might cook dinner without a fire, so give children some sticks, and again let them carry the sticks all in their arms or on their head or wrapped in the cloth. It's a three-legged race, 3 legs to the race. So in this case we're honoring Africa, some traditions in Africa, but you could use your imagination and you could come up with all kinds of things in other cultures. So I encourage you to use your imagination, do some research. Again, we're not trying to foster a stereotype, but we're trying to make the point that people live differently in different parts of the world. Some of it is out of necessity, some of it is custom and tradition. And we can ask them things like, what do we do in our culture or country? In some countries, they fish. They use fish. So you could get the little fishing rods with magnets on the end and put little magnetic fish in a bucket and let the children fish. And each person on the team has to catch a fish as part of the relay. Maybe we have children picking small plants, as in like a rice paddy or rice plants, out of a low pan that has these little pieces of, you can use string or you could use little plastic plants and bury them, in sand in the bottom of a bucket filled with water. And they have to go in there and each person find three of these plants that we're harvesting, like maybe they do in a rice paddy. There's all kinds, again, of ways to make the relay fun. And while you're doing that, you're teaching them that lots of people have different ways of living in the world, and that some are very difficult, some are out of necessity. A lot is different than what we experience, and ask them to try to think of something that we do that is unique to how maybe we live or they live in their country of origin. So again, it's meant to be fun, but it's meant also to be a teachable moment. Then you can show the video and ask children to come to the next session prepared to show and tell. For older children, there is a quiz here that you can give them as a take-home, or you can do it in class. So once again, the lesson probably won't take more than an hour, but we encourage you to have fun with it. It's meant as a lighthearted way to introduce the concept of culture and to get children excited to talk about their own culture and heritage. So thank you so much for your time and attention. One more time, the invitation. If you have an activity that you think would work well here, or you have some different interpretations, please send us a short video. If you're comfortable doing it in a different language, that would be brilliant. Just please label in English as well as your language of origin so that we can sort out and post and share. Thank you so much. Enjoy the lesson.